Obviously, I don't want to talk to Marty.
To get back at them. Is that clear enough to you? A 43-year-old man with a bad knee and bad shoulders.
This game is really getting to Marty.
To get back at them.
Yes, that's right. It is Wednesday, April 6, 2022. And, well, a few hours ago, Big Brother Canada 10's 16th episode aired. Maybe my favorite episode ever of any Big Brother ever. It was messy. It was weird. It was something else. The week 6 Power Veto episode, if you didn't know. I'm Dave Maynard. Kind of, yeah. Kind of, just like the Monday episode was kind of an HOH nominations episode. But I'm Dave Mader, joined with my brother Jeff Mader and co-host Jaemeel Robinson here to break this all down to you tonight as we've been covering this Big Brother Canada 10 season. We just got off of the Survivor 42 podcast, covering that episode 5 over there. And so it's a bit late here. We're just approaching about 11 p.m. here on this Wednesday night. But we got to break this down, guys, because what this Marty HOH, this second reign of Marty, and Marty is unraveling as a person. Like, I could not get enough of this tonight. Like, he's like becoming like the Howard Hughes of Big Brother. I think like he's up there in his HOH room, like I think got jars of things, and he's talking to people in the shower.
Summer's like, "Hey, are you gonna come down? Are you gonna come down and see us?" No, I'm good here.
No, I just don't want to get into a shouty match with Betty. You know, and then they have like the most superficial fake conversation ever. Just he's like, "How much do I have to say to you to get you to leave, Betty?" As we see here, we had the Power Veto. It's like the competition itself, because guys, we didn't even get to know who the nominees were officially. We knew because we talked about it in the spoiler section the other night. Thanks to Jaemeel breaking it all down for us. But ultimately, Marty opts after some deliberation, because he considers putting Moose up for a while. In this, right? Who was dressed in a tiger costume. I don't think it's a punishment. I think just that's how he likes to dress.
That's
on
a choice.
The show if it was. Yeah.
It's like Marty, what is going on with Marty? So there's more of this continuation of Marty and Kevin talking up as we were left. That was the cliffhanger we were left on, where
to get back at them.
Who will Marty nominate for it?
Who will Marty nominate?
Marty doesn't even know.
Marty doesn't know. He was bouncing all around each other. He's still obsessed with Gino.
Right. That's the crux. That is the crux of Marty. Like, just at the core, he's obsessed with Gino, and the way it looks to the outside of him lying to Gino as if Gino is the hand of God in this house. Yet nobody really likes Gino. It seems like they all want him out, so like it's so weird. Like, Marty has such a terrible read on the house, the outside view of him and the game, and I just don't. Oh man, I thought he was going to do better than this. Like, this is a train wreck of an HOH, and
we've had some bad ones this year. Like, this is.
It is so bad. It's Devin level bad. Like, it is.
But it just keeps going.
But it keeps going. Yeah. At least Devin shut his mouth at a certain point.
Right.
I have to wonder. Maybe I didn't know about this. Does he have like an estranged son and he looks like Gino? Because that's the only thing I can rationally think of as to why he is so beholden and trying to get into Gino's good graces. Is that he just images that's his son or something.
Maybe, or I think it also has to do with just like the French connection that
I think it's that. I think it's the French thing, and I think like like here in English Canada, at least, we're kind of in our own little bubble in some respects in terms of like our culture, right? We're sort of separated from the Americans in some respects. We have a lot of overlap and a lot of commonalities. If you think about like the French Canadian world, it's so small. It's only Quebec and parts of New Brunswick, where Marty's from.
So it's like what, 25% of the country?
Yeah, maybe, but it's like it's a very small community, right? And compared to like the English Canadian community, which can easily kind of interchange with the Americans. We can, watch one of their shows and they can watch one of our shows, and there's no real big deal. But like in terms of like their world, it's smaller. I think like the celebrity maybe culture even within that, or the, you know, I think is getting to Marty. I think he's obsessing over whether Gino gives him credibility with like the cool French kids of Quebec or something like that. Or where's he live now?
Does he
Ottawa,
plan on skateboarding after, and he's afraid he's gonna get picked on in the skate park? Like, dude, you're an old man.
I don't really know. Yeah, like it's like I'm only speculating, but it's weird, and it's just interesting to read Gino as he's like talking tonight to Marty. He's like, yeah, like, and Jacey-Lynne, who's just kind of like dragged along by Gino wherever he goes. Like we don't trust Marty, but we're gonna try to get him to like go after somebody else other than us. We're not, he's unpredictable. And I think like they know, at least if Jacey-Lynne knows anything, she knows like what Gino tells her, like, we can't trust Marty. We just got to tell him kind of don't nominate us, and, you know, ideally nominate somebody who's a threat to us, but without worrying too much, because he's burned Gino so many times that he keeps coming back, and how this is get interpreted. The Marty Party, the little man from Little Rock, if you will, Petit Rocher, Nouveau Brunswick. Marty, yeah. And so he's up there talking to Kevin to start off the episode as we were left off, and he's yelling more. Is it, you know? And then I love Kevin's like diary rooms getting like edited in here, where he's just like, Marty has a really selective memory. Marty is losing it. He's seriously, you know, and he because he's so mad at Josh and Betty for this whole vote that didn't work out, and the whole everything that happened, where Helena and Marty voted to evict Gino, but Kevin and Josh and Betty did not, because they kind of got cold feet at the last second, just because of the body language. It was so quick and they were afraid and whatever. But in Marty's mind, it still was this master plan. Now, Kevin has been absolved of this. And Kevin's confused by it too. He's like, yeah, if I wasn't there, fine by me. Sure. I don't care. Like, you know, whatever you say, Marty. This is curious. Like, what do you guys think? Like, why is Kevin okay in Marty's mind? Like, if you had to psychoanalyze Marty, why is he giving Kevin the pass here?
What do you mean the pass on what?
On this whole thing, because he's mad at Josh and Betty because they didn't in the end vote to evict Gino, right? But but neither did Kevin. They ended up voting
because if you watched when they voted, what happened was basically Betty and Josh were like gonna do it, they say anyway, but then they saw like Marty was like being sketched and had his head down, and like they wanted to get like a thumbs up during the vote from Marty, so it was like good to go, we know it's for sure. And Marty just was like, it was bothering him, but he was also kind of just tunnel focused on the ground and didn't really engage.
He was about to vote out his soulmate. What can you ask of him, you know? Like,
right. So Betty pulled out, and then Josh was like, well, then I'm not going to do it if Betty doesn't do it. And then it turned into this no you lie type bullshit. So it makes sense why Marty thinks the way he thinks about this trap being laid. It makes it all like, it's not absolute craziness, you know, because of what occurred during that vote. But at the same time, it's just like, dude, like you need to pay attention more during important moments, you know, and have your head on a swivel and be like, okay, like, and not have such a conscience about voting out Gino. Like, if you're gonna do it, like, do it right, you know. And then he everything he did was 10 times worse, because now he's like trying to like get back into Gino's good graces and stuff. And it's like the best thing he could have done tonight, guys, was win that HOH and then put up Gino and Jacey-Lynne. If he had just done that, he would be in such a great spot in the house.
Yeah. But again, Gino, he loves Gino. And I have Gino in the draft. I'm not that impressed by Gino. You're right. Like, it doesn't seem like anyone but Jacey-Lynne really has a loyalty to him. Like, Herman's kind of trying just from the strong competitor side of things. But yeah, it's just like, what is this? Like,
the best thing he could have done, if he knew he'd burn the bridge with Gino, and Gino was never really going to trust him. He said he felt it from him in the episode. Like, the best thing he could have done was put those two up, Gino and Jacey-Lynne. And then the rest of the house would have been like, okay, great. You know,
Or
and
even,
Marty
like, why
probably
not
would
put
have head back into, he would have been not a big target for a bit,
Yeah, I think there's more in Marty's head than we can really take from what we're seeing on the show. He's in a feedback loop in a lot of ways on some of this. I get that, like, it's just like he blames only Betty and Josh, but not Kevin. That's the part that is the disconnect for me. Because they're, like, okay, I can understand being maybe mad at Betty because she was the one who initially did it. And then Josh kind of was like, well, I'm not going to do it if she's not doing it. And then Kevin kind of did the same thing. So Josh and Kevin are kind of the same here.
What about Helena?
Well, Helena voted with Marty, so she should be happy with Helena, right?
But, like, she was part of the discussion too.
She was part of this, but she did what she voted with him, so he would have no reason to be upset with her.
But it doesn't matter. She's part of the vote to Gino. She was part of the coup to get rid of Sir Gino, right?
Yes.
To eliminate him, which, he obviously needs to get revenge and to get back.
Right. To get back at them.
To get back at them.
Very important.
I totally forgot I put a strong drink in my cup.
What is going on in the bay tonight? Like, there's a huge horn going off in the ships. Like,
Leafs eliminated yet? No?
I don't know. Something's going on.
No.
Yeah,
But they did blow a 5-1 lead, so I mean that's the same thing.
Leafs got a Leafs.
Oh, they're the best at leafing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Leafing, like, and Marty, all right, get back at them.
No, much Canadiens.
Yeah, les habitants.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's just nonsensical gameplay, Dave. Like, when someone has blinders and they make a narrative in their head that they want to follow, and that's the only thing they think is real in the house, and there's no one there that they trust to kind of center them, this is what you get.
right, and so Marty has no one he really trusts, it seems like.
I think, like even like with Jess, like I think that okay. Let's put. I think he did this vote for this very reason. He doesn't really trust Gino because he burned him the one time. I think the only person he really trusted was Jess. That's why he just agreed to vote Gino out here because Jess was the other person on the block, and we saw the whole conversation with Summer with him tonight. Which I don't know if you have any clips from that, but that was probably my favorite part of the episode where he was just like, "Oh, now you get that here," and like it was just
get out of my HOH room. I am HOH.
Oh, now you're going to lie.
And he opens the door.
Yeah,
Right.
he'd been up there all by himself. She came up to check on him. And he's like, all right, I'm going to pick a fight with you immediately. I said to Amanda, like halfway through the episode, I'm like, he's literally gotten every single person to hate him. And like, there's no way, like, and put him on the block, like, for sure. Like, not even keep him around, hate him.
Like, I don't even, like, after he watched the meltdown of the Kyle HOH, I'm like, why hasn't he learned that this can happen to him? Or does he just accept it? Because even at the top of the episode, he's like saying, I'm going to go into the diary room and tell them I quit in a second. He's like, and Kevin said,
This game is really getting to Marty.
it's really getting to him.
Like, dude.
Yeah. Ultimately, yeah. And then he pulls in Moose and says, okay, Moose, I'm skipping ahead because first he was talking to Gino and Gino's like, Gino, just so we can speak French to each other, I will do whatever the hell you want. Like I will give you any, Gino's like, okay, well then
what did Gino what? He wanted Moose and
Herman, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, like something along those lines. He's like Moose and Herman, they seem to be working together, or maybe Josh. You could throw Josh into the mix because, right? And then Marty jumps on that. Oh yes, Josh is at the top of my list. He was at him and Betty, right? And I don't want to accuse Marty of anything, but it seems like the color of the skin seems to color his views a bit. Because like I'm saying, why is Kevin getting a pass but Josh is not? And like it's there's kind of some things here.
It's just so weird.
Yeah, like it's kind of I don't know how I don't want to say that, but like it's the behavior of Marty is really like kind of troubling what I'm seeing here. It's and anyway, and so he just, they say, sure, whatever you want. And, he's like, well, what if I put up Moose right? And as a pawn again, and they're like, whatever, sure, if you can get him to do it. But but then he's like, I just told Moose that I wouldn't do it, Gino. So I can't do this, Gino. I can't put up Moose. And then he calls Moose in like a little later because Gino told me I have to put up Moose. Okay, I'm gonna have to Gino or Moose. Sorry, what do you think about being a pawn? And then Moose is like, well, what are you trying to do? He's like, well, I'm either trying to get out Betty or Josh. He's like, I wish I had had time to pull this clip because I had some technical difficulties, and I didn't end up getting it. But it was just like, if you want to get out Josh and Betty, put up Josh and Betty. I'm no expert here on how to get this done. But it's
you see, the thing is, I've letting Gino run my HOH, and I'm not telling you this.
So I win back the trust, and then we can speak French.
And then we can speak French in front of people who can't speak French, and then that is my ultimate strategic advantage over everyone else in this house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's this is like beyond messy, right? And he ultimately creates all this friction with Moose that he didn't even have to after he just told him he was totally good. Even leading up to like when he tells Herman here at the end of the episode, "You're a good man. Not in a million years. You, but Summer would go up way before you would." And Herman's like, "Yeah, that's right. Summer would go up," because you see like your favorite part of the episode, Jeff. When did that happen exactly? Did that happen? When did Summer go up there to talk to?
I don't know, like halfway after the veto or something. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, that's later in the episode. So maybe we should get to the nominations themselves first, because ultimately, and then there was that whole conversation Marty had with Josh too, right? Where Josh is like, "I was never trying to blindside you. I'm on your side. I want to work with you, Marty." Right?
Yeah. No, and he doesn't want to hear it, and he's in his own head about some sort of French allegiance to Gino. Like it is beyond delusional gameplay. It's cringe. It is cringe worthy watching him play HOH. Like it is just like, oh, don't no, Marty, no, Marty, no,
awful,
no, Garçon, no.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Ultimately, okay, and then what about his speech that he gave when he nominated Josh?
Unnecessary, especially the last part. Like Josh is right. Like I'm a 43-year-old man with bad shoulders and bad knees and bad hips.
A 43-year-old man with a bad knee and bad shoulders.
You've won 2 HOHs and a veto. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you threw that hula hoop with your bad shoulder, no issue.
You're absolutely right.
Like
absolutely
it was.
Right.
What's wrong with this guy? Like,
what was the
other
part?
Talking backdoor. They wanted to backdoor him.
Man.
How could you ever back that? What could be more savage?
Me compete. It's just like, Marty, you're not. What is this?
Right, Josh is like, you're willing to backdoor other people, Marty. Like, what's so? Where's your morality lie here? What is your logic exactly?
I think that was more what Josh was calling out more than anything. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, why is your head all over the place? It makes literally no sense. Like, it would be one thing to figure out, but there's nothing to figure out because it's so illogical. It doesn't follow a linear. It's a zigzag with a curl and like nothing makes sense with his motivations and his executions. Like Kevin really explained Marty the best tonight when he was like, I like Marty, but he is easy to manipulate. And like,
right.
And then he goes right into it. And it's just like, Kevin is by far playing the best game right now.
Yes.
Guys. It's not even close.
Kevin and Summer, I think, are at the top. And I think Josh tries. Like, I think Josh tried everything he could do right in that conversation with Marty to say the right things. It just, you're talking to a madman. Yeah. So what are you going to do?
I think that's kind of why he goes and cries like after the veto, because he's just like, he's just like, he's like, I don't even think I'm doing anything wrong, and I'm getting like totally screwed over for the
I can feel that, because in a game where you kind of have to watch your step, and you're trying to move pieces and yourself along in this chessboard so things work out for you, and this dude comes in, you cannot talk to him, you cannot even suggest something, and he just flies off the handle. You can't approach logic with him, and nonsense could also get you put up on the block. It seems like it's frustrating to not be able to win. not be even to make some headroom, not being able to like to make an alliance or do well, or the dude is just so out there. He's purposely cutting your legs from underneath you twice, and then he's gonna come like get all so sad and apologize to you in like a couple of days.
Right. Yeah. And just and so the whole fight that blows up after the actual ceremony is over, because like he gives like this whole speech of how he was tricked, and this is, you were trying, I have to live with what I did. I voted for Gino. I can't believe I did it. I have to own it. But I will get back at you.
Get back at them.
Back. Get back at them, right? And then
you're so right. Like his motivations make no sense. He'll say that, and then next week you're right. He'll be talking to Josh. I'm sorry, I want to work together, and then something else will happen, and then he'll be like, screw him. It's just like that is how he plays.
Is that clear enough to you?
Oh my god, yes.
Yelling.
Why are you yelling? Like the whole thing with Spence Summer was he, like, first of all, he never should have done it. It was ridiculous. And the second, but the thing is, like, even if it was true, and it sort of was true, it seemed overblown by Jess to Marty. Like, it wasn't quite what Jess made it out to Marty. And then, I wonder why Jess did that. Like, it'd be funny, kind of interesting to hear what Jess.
Yeah, well, like the whole Wendy gate of the thing, with the Frosty and the fries and everything else, because that was interesting to kind of see those clips broken down and how this chain of telephone led to this, like, these unfortunate things. But before that, like the whole fight with Betty and Marty, right? In I guess the main living room there where the ceremony, Jaemeel, happened, like that was something. Like I was just like, give me the popcorn. Like, this is great. I can't get enough of this. Like when the nominees are just like, instead of just do everyone hugs and there's kind of like a moment after the most nominations, this was just like fireworks, blow up. This house is gonna blow. What do you make of all that? Were you enjoying it?
Betty was right. Betty was right.
It's just so extra. It's just so extra, Marty.
She was right, but at the same time, Betty sucks. Like, as far as but
he needs to get her out. He needs to have his revenge.
I know. Like, she needs to just ignore Marty, because like it's not helping her. Like I think she thinks it is, but it's not. It's she's showing how she plays to the whole house and how easy it is to use her. And I think she should be way more guarded. But that's not how she plays.
No.
My sun sign is a Virgo, my moon sign is a Pisces, and my rising is a Gemini.
First of all, that makes no sense. But even if it was, Marty must be a Sagittarius.
Why does it make no sense?
You can't. Your sun sign can't be a Virgo and your moon sign a Pisces. That's what's
a sun sign? What's
all nonsense?
They're all nonsense.
Well, Virgos and Pisces are opposites, guys. Like, it doesn't work. Like they're 6 months apart.
I don't understand any of it other than you're born in a certain month and they say that's your logo.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Your logo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Business B gets it. And she's not digging with what Marty's selling, of course.
Obviously, I don't want to talk to Marty.
And so then the whole Betty thing. Okay, so let's break that all down. So Betty goes up and she's like, well, Marty's been cooped up in his HOH room for days, I think. Like, this is sometime after the ceremonies happened, and she comes up to talk, and he's listening to his music, and he's like, I just don't want to get into a fight with a shouting match with Betty and everything else. And she's like, yeah, that makes sense. And then kind of like out of nowhere, they're kind of chatting, and then he's just like, you were the one who, I know you were the one who would backdoor me. Right. And she's like, what? No, I didn't ever wanted to backdoor you. She's like, Jess told me she took you to Wendy's to get the backdoor me. And then, okay, so we see this whole clip where Jess tells Marty one night about this. And to be fair to Marty, this was pretty convincing how Jess sold the story, right? She's like, yeah, like Summer brought up your name, and she, like somebody would the back door, and I was just like, here, eat this Frosty, or eat this to kind of change the subject and move on really quickly because it made me nervous. And then we get that flashback, and then like I don't think Summer was pitching hard a back door on Marty in that moment. I think that's how Jess interpreted it, maybe, but that's not real. I think she was just saying like Marty was somebody that she didn't maybe see herself working with down the line. I think it was something like that, or him not. It was something like it was way more innocuous, way more innocent than anything super hardcore. But Jess kind of overreacted to it, and Jess does like give her the fry and the Frosty there. So I think Jess's account of it, or the way she was interpreting it, was correctly. But I think that like that Marty just can't bring himself to understand that this could be a misunderstanding, or he has no trust. He's willing to offer no trust to Summer, and then yeah, you're right, Jeff. Like this was just. Can you dig any more of a hole? You've already put up Josh and Betty this week, and you voted against Gino, who ended up staying, and you kind of like alienated them. Then you talked about putting Moose up, and then didn't, and then it's just like, and then ultimately he's going to screw over probably Herman here, with the renom. It's just like, can he survive next week? Is there like he wins the veto, I guess.
I think
like,
if Kevin or Helena win, he's fine.
Really? Do you think they won't? Won't there be house pressure to get him out after this?
They don't play like that. They play they want to go after big threats.
Right.
Marty's not a threat. He's not getting any votes at the end. That's for sure.
True. It just but does that just put them on like the minority side of the house? Like if
they're
Marty?
The majority, they're like really like I would say Helena, Kevin, Josh are going to control this game in like 2 votes.
But Josh isn't going to work with Marty.
He doesn't need to. He just needs to like have them go along. You know what I mean?
What's that alliance name? The Helena, Josh,
the Crash Test Dummies.
The Crash Test Dummies. They float in the middle, and they're gonna stay there throughout. Because like I think Josh has to realize after this week that Marty's a problem, and so I guess if like let's say Kevin was HOH next week, and Josh is in his ear, like why wouldn't we get rid of Marty at this point? Like is he really helping us? He might be helping Kevin, but is he helping Josh?
Well, that's the thing. If Kevin has anything to say about it, he's going to say no. He's going to be like, no, let's get out one of Jacey-Lynne or Gio. Why wouldn't you? Gino. So like you would want to get one of those 2 people out, as soon as possible. And then you'd probably want to get rid of Moose and Herman. Those 3 players. You get rid of all of them. The rest are kind of boneheads. I mean, like as far as the game, Yes. So I would say those are the players you'd want to target if you're Helena, Josh, and Kevin.
So if Josh is in power, do you think he would prioritize getting out Gino over Marty?
Well, I think Kevin would, and I think if they're together, then that could happen. I think Josh is logical enough to know that he's going to go with the his 3-person alliance, especially if Helena's on board with that too.
Yep. Right. Yeah. What did you guys think of the veto competition tonight, Jaemeel?
Oh my gosh, dude! I got a lot to say about this. Right. You see, I kind of went into like resting mode, just waiting to pounce on this.
Right.
1 sponsorship. Okay, cool, whatever. What is Betty thinking? What is literally this person thinking? And that's more to her reaction to, oh man, well, I could have gotten no. Betty, you could not get anything. I would rather compete against Betty and give her, if it's 6 balls you have to put up, give her a 5.5 ball lead. Put 1 ball on the teeter edge where it just needs to accidentally fall in place, and I still think I can beat her. It was just awful with the what's called again, the rolling uphill ball. Ski ball aspect. So skee ball was first. The second one was the puzzle with Gino versus Josh, where Summer's like, there's no way that Josh is gonna beat Gino's gonna beat Josh in the puzzle thing, and he practically built it twice to beat him.
Yeah, it wasn't just about it being a puzzle. He was also,
but it's also
about
the survivor keep up this this floating panel that can either slip over to the side on either side and come off balance and rebuild your stack and maintain it. I thought it was a good part of the challenge. The next one with the balance beam,
like the rainbow balance beam, which was Summer and Gino. Summer picked Gino to play against.
Yeah, so she can throw again.
So she can throw it here again. But like, like obviously Herman's going, Summer, what are you doing? Because like he's supposed to be allied with Summer, and Summer is never trying to win things or trying to help like his position. So he's
I think she just lost. I think she lost, and that was a bunch of bullshit today. The DR where she said she threw it.
But why'd she pick Gino in the first place?
I don't know, because she doesn't pay attention. She doesn't care about the competitions. But I think she tries to win them. But like as far as throwing them, no, I don't think she's trying to throw them. She was trying to win that seesaw thing. She didn't give up.
No,
maybe right at the end when she knew she was going to lose, but she was trying to beat him.
Yeah,
but she could have gone against Kevin instead, and probably would have had a better shot.
Maybe,
Yeah. So ultimately, we get Gino versus Kevin here at the end in the finals. Oh yes. And then a word puzzle, right?
It should have been in French.
If it was, en français, nominees is no minds. Was that what it is? How he spelled it?
Nominee or numini or something he spelled.
Nominus or something.
Nominize or something. Yeah.
Nominize. I think it was nominize.
Nominize. Oh my god.
It's like, bro,
isn't nominee a French word?
Well, 25% of English words come from French words.
But like nominee, like that sounds like it would be a French-based word.
It could be. I imagine it's probably got a French or Latin origin to it. Yeah, we should look up the etymology of that.
Yeah,
and what the translation is in French, because maybe like there is a Quebec Big Brother, there is a French Big Brother, and ultimately like Gino and Marty choose to compete on the English Big Brother, Canada. So I don't know.
Okay, nominee in French is candidate.
Candidate, which is an English word as well.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, nominee. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
No, yeah, and so because Gino figured the puzzle out first, but then Kevin looks over and goes, "Oh, nominees," but I know how to spell it, and then he did
because it's plural. It's a plural word. I think that's what messes him up because. If it was just nominee instead of nominees, I think he would have got it. But because it was an extra S in there, he was like, I don't know.
Where's this S go? I don't know. Yeah, and so Kevin wins his first veto, which
let's get weird
with this. It is getting weird on this, yes, and then ultimately, like this, so like the what I recall from it was Helena in the shower pitching this thing to Marty, like we should go after Herman with this we have an opportunity here, right? And he's like, I have to get out Betty. As long as Betty goes, then that's all he wants.
Betty goes out the door.
Yeah,
he's like he doesn't care about Betty going home either. Like he just wants everything to be okay with Gino. That's all he really cares about. And it's just like, and he's like, you run away to HOH, I don't care, and Betty, and and then he's like, okay, and then Helena and Kevin will start working some magic on him, and then all of a sudden they're running his HOH. Even though Gino had all the opportunity to grab Marty by the balls and control this week, and he doesn't take it.
Right. Like Gino could probably get Helena up there if he wanted, right?
He could have got Helena and Kevin put up on the block if he wanted. He
Kevin
really had that much. Well, yes, but like before, like he had that much power and sway over what Marty did this week, and he should have recognized that.
I think he did,
but I think he also doesn't trust him. He just, he feels
he's unpredictable. He knows he's unpredictable.
Yeah. So wait, so he's gonna treat him like a serial killer and just hey, how's it going? And then
it seems like that's his plan.
That's his plan.
He's a man with a bomb right now. I think that's the way he's treating Marty. He's a man with a bomb. Just tell him what he needs to hear. And then when he doesn't have the bomb anymore, I will get the bomb and I will blow up him. I will blow up Marty.
He's like that guy in Oz, the Irish guy that had the bomb or whatever. Like he's a little bit like that at the Big Brother house. And then he tries to throw the bomb on the ground and it doesn't.
And Gino's like O'Reilly. He's like, this is crazy. We can't do this.
Right. Gino's all right.
It's nonsensical. And then you can understand what I was talking about when I said that Kevin was telling Summer, do not mention Gino because he will put you up. Like, he is such a loose cannon that, like, if people say the wrong thing, the dude is just gonna, and it just matters who gets to him last, it seems.
He's the Brian Pillman of the Big Brother house.
Yes.
All right. Well, and just seeing Kevin's like, I think it was Kevin and Helena in these segments where all I have to do is get whatever Marty thinks is going to get Gino to back into the good graces here is what I have to get him to say. And like you had kind of explained in the spoiler section the other night, Jaemeel, he's like, well, why don't you just pitch this to Gino and see if he says no, he says no. Right. He's like, okay, I will. And then he pulls in Gino. Hey, what do you think about putting up Herman? And he's like,
he gets him to think, well, I think you should do it. It's like, but I need to ask Gino for permission. It's like, well, if Gino says yes, then you can do it. But if Gino says no, then you know he's working with Herman. It's like, what kind of backwards logic is that? But it works so well with this dude.
Right.
That he doesn't even, he walks into his own, like, nonsensical, illogical loop. It's just, it's miraculous.
It's something to watch. I mean, because it's so hypocritical and like you're also just like, why? You're so confused by the motivations. You're just like, no, don't do that. What are you doing?
Come on, Marty. But on the other hand, you're like, I don't think you're gonna win, Marty. So let's see where this goes. As long as it doesn't take out the person.
Well, yeah, no, he's torching his golden ticket. Like, he really is.
I think he could have maybe still had a chance to win in this game. Not now.
He
could have won. He could have won Canadian's favorite player. I think, like, hands down.
Not now. Not
and no.
Get back at them.
Oh my god.
I don't know. He can still turn it around on the Canadians' favorite player. I think he still could, but not win the game. I don't see him winning the game.
He's yelling in the house like that.
Yeah.
Is that clear enough to you?
Kevin's like, like, what did I ask?
I think what do you need from me this week or something? And he's like, that fucking clear enough to you.
Kevin's doing very well with him. He's the only one willing to go ride the tornado with him. Yeah, and Summer tried and that didn't go well. She got spat right back out to the house guest outside area.
She was also being confrontational with this too.
She was like I think Kevin lets a lot of it roll off his back where Summer would not, right? And she comes down, she's so angry and stomping.
But she could have just said, just say it once. Say, look, I didn't say that. I don't know what Jess told you, but I didn't say that.
Yeah, the more you defend yourself, like, the worse it looks for you.
But like, you're not gonna, you acting like. You getting into I know you are, but what am I type of argument with a dude who can put you up on the block is nonsensical, regardless how wrong he is and right you are. That doesn't matter, right? Like, you can't prove it. He can't. He's stuck in his own mindset. So what are you arguing about?
Yeah. Like, he just proved that he thinks Betty and Josh had a master plan to screw him, which isn't really probably what happened. You know what I mean? Like, so he will concoct any narrative in his head and put you up based on that.
Did Kevin try to convince him that they didn't? Did he?
I don't think he needed to. I think he was in a great spot. Like, I don't think he cares if other than Josh after he won the veto. Right, like, I don't think he cares about Betty
because he's working with Josh, and so he's got this conflict.
Betty's like the perfect extra vote. She's not respected at a game whatsoever. Right. She can't win anything, right? And currently, she's on your good side, right? She currently is very close with Summer, which you want to work with, and is close with yourself, Josh, and Kevin. So she's like the perfect person to use as a tool, as a vote
against Gino, Jacey-Lynne, Herman, Moose. That's like the one side of the house right now, right?
With Moose kind of playing his own game.
Right, but like I would say like
they're the opposite side of the house. They
the-
just don't realize it. Some don't realize
Right.
it as much as others.
right, like they're the big threats that everybody wants to get out.
Yeah.
And the other side of the house is like, yeah, Helena, Kevin, Josh, Summer, you know, and then Marty's in the middle. And you know, you also have like I'm missing one person.
Moose?
No, it's another girl. I guess just Betty. You know, yeah, Betty's kind of in the middle too. Like you know,
Jacey-Lynne? Well, Jacey-Lynne's with Gino.
Jacey-Lynne's with Gino. So yeah,
Who is so inconsequential? It's like, why are you in this house still? She's
But, like,
sock
she has a
puppet for
vote.
Gino.
She
Yeah,
has a vote.
Gino has an extra vote from Survivor.
Right. Yeah, it's like Survivor, but we
Yes.
have this whole other player. Do you think Jacey-Lynne ever intended to play this game?
She reeks of recruit, honestly.
Yeah. You don't disagree with you on that. And she's like, I'll be on this show and I'll get like a very handsome boy to be my boyfriend.
Yep. And all yeah.
She's kind of from a small town, right? She's from like, Thunder Bay. Okay, so it's like I don't know a ton about Thunder Bay, but it's pretty isolated from the rest of the country. So, anyway, so yeah, so the whole this whole plan here to backdoor Herman, not tell him about it.
Jeez.
Like this is bad. Like you know, I think
It's good for one side of the house, but it's bad for Herman and like rational thinkers for his own personal gain as well.
Right, but is there the like how often do you see it in Big Brother, any version of it, where a nominee is not given a heads up in advance, like outside of double evictions and stuff like that, like which obviously different.
It happens from time to time, but when people are so messy, they just can't help but blab.
Right, that also happens here, but and like Kevin, like he goes down, he's like he tells Herman everything he wants to hear here. Says you're good, man. This is a quick conversation. Don't worry. If someone did come down, or if Kevin, Kevin already told me he's not using it, which is not true. And even if he does, if he somehow he uses it, Summer will be my renom if I have to put up somebody, which is also not true. He's going to put up Herman. So leaving Herman sort of in limbo here, and that's where the cliffhanger leaves, right? And so he goes down to tell Kevin this whole account, and Kevin seems like, this is great. I'm not opposed to any of this. Is this bad for Kevin's game? Right, that he like once I guess when let's say this works and Herman goes, how much blood will be on Kevin's hands from this?
Zero.
This Marty, not zero.
Zero.
Okay,
yeah, it's all gonna go on.
drops because they'll know that Marty and him work together.
Yeah, well, what
are they gonna like? Okay, so Gino goes, Kevin must have put it in your ear. Was it your idea? Was Kevin really pushing for it? It's like, let's go ask Kevin. Was it me? I guess it's Gino. It's
right.
It's
right, Marty
Marty's
doesn't have...
It's Marty's
word.
Marty's word versus Kevin's. Who are you gonna believe more? Someone who's been crafting his narrative like in front of everyone, and everyone kind of sees as like that isn't right, versus Kevin, who's been for the most part pretty straightforward. Even in the interrogation of that whole sequence, he's like, yeah, we were having an open dialogue about voting Gino out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He didn't need to give that thing. People immediately didn't even look at him. Stop looking at him immediately. It's so
because I guess I think it's like they never trusted Kevin in the first place, so there was no trust broken.
I guess so, but
depending on who we're talking about, but yeah, because obviously Kevin's is the best position player now, right? In some ways,
yes, absolutely.
I'm curious to see how the rest of the house will treat him. If Marty gets his way here, he and Marty, because they're in Helena for that matter, they're going to go ahead with this plan and backdoor Herman. But then you got to so then who's coming down is the question, right? Like who's the veto? Like presumably it's Josh because he's closest to Kevin.
Yeah.
So Kevin takes down Josh. And so like what's the best thing for the house? Like of the people who are voting between Herman and Betty, like who does it serve to get rid of Betty?
Um,
Other than Marty, who doesn't vote.
the other side, Gino, Jacey-Lynne.
Do you think they would rather get Betty out than get out Herman, like a threat like Herman at this point?
Yeah.
Who?
Well, I guess forget Jacey-Lynne. She'll do whatever Gino tells her, right? So
Gino,
it's
yeah.
really what if you're Gino, would you rather have Betty in the house or would you rather have Herman in the house?
Oh, Herman, if you're Gino. But
Gino.
the problem is, I don't think he's going to decide the vote. It's going to come down to, the Summers and the, you'll have Kevin voting, Helena voting, you'll have Josh voting, you'll have, those will be the votes.
You said that Summer's close with Betty, right? These days?
Yeah.
She's a potential vote to keep Betty, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
They only need 4 votes. I apologize. 4
right.
Four
So that's
3.
Summer, Jacey-Lynne, and Gino's 3 right there.
No.
No. She's going to keep Betty.
She's going to keep Betty and get out Herman. So what you're looking at is Summer,
Helena.
Kevin, Helena, and Josh.
Who
That's
they're
4.
saving off the block. That's 4. Boom. Done.
And who are the other? Is there 7? There's 7 people voting.
Gino, Jacey-Lynne, and Moose.
Moose, yeah.
Okay, and Moose and Kevin votes.
Kevin's
Well,
going to
Kevin's
vote
on the other
for
side.
Herman not.
Who are Kevin and Josh going to vote for?
Herman
Come on,
out.
to vote him out.
Gonna vote on
Helena.
Herman.
So is this
Helena.
unanimous? Like or
No,
Or 3.
it's 4 to 3.
It could be 4-3. It depends what Moose wants to do.
okay, Gino, Jacey-Lynne, and who?
Moose.
Moose?
Yeah,
Those 3,
we'll
be
vote to get Betty out.
He's the only one who you would think will vote to keep Herman.
Herman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of that sort
Yeah.
of alliance. Okay.
Who's Herman with? Like Dave, we saw tonight him get all cocky and excited that I'm gonna turn on Marty or whatever. And Helena and Kevin are playing this very smart. They're basically look, they're feeding Marty with a narrative, but a narrative that's rooted in truth. And the show is like Herman, even when he's by himself, it's like they're reading him well. Like I know he's not a mastermind, but they're reading exactly his motivations perfectly.
Right. But you're absolutely right about Gino too. Like Gino had an opportunity to manipulate this HOH.
Oh, yeah.
Ultimately, like if our predictions all come true here, that Gino will again be in the minority of this vote, right? Him and Jacey-Lynne and I guess Moose, right? So
I think that makes him a worse Big Brother player than Marty. Honestly, the fact that he was not able to notice that this HOH was put on a silver platter for him. The HOH told him so, and he's just like, you know what? I'm going to back off. And
you're weirding me out. You're weirding me out, Marty.
You're weirding me out. And he's going to let the other half of the house completely control the vote and really hurt his game.
Because you remember that Gino was close with Kyle.
Yep.
And then he got Kyle out
to appease to appeal the house guests.
Right. And I feel like the same thing's happening again, where he's like, "Oh, no one likes Marty, and I'm kind of attached to Marty, and everyone hates me because of it. So if Marty were to go, then it's good for Gino." But
what's gonna happen is he's gonna be all alone with Jacey-Lynne, and they're just gonna pick him off. Like he should have kept Marty and Kyle around. You know what I mean? He should be using those guys as shields.
I think him choose. I like that. I was what I was arguing at the time with his decision to put up Kyle and get Kyle out that week, right? When he could have done something else. I think was the wrong thing to do.
It was, yeah, because he could have used Kyle and Marty as the 2 guys nobody likes and use them as like this shield and make sure he gets further and further into the game, and then you figure out a way to take them out or whatever you need to do.
But of course, doing stuff out of order.
Doing stuff what stuff out of order?
Like the order in which you kind of prioritize who your allies are versus your enemies, right?
And your pecking order, right?
Yeah, he's not. It's not corresponding with the man.
Okay, I agree with you. It's okay. So I'm sure tomorrow night we'll speculate about, or maybe we'll get to know who the next HOH is, and I guess we'll get to finally know who's on the block.
No, that'll
be
to be continued.
It's
No,
always to be continued.
I don't think they're going to be to be continued.
No,
I think
maybe.
it's going to be a straightforward. You're going to find out who the HOH is. I think this part of the story is straightforward. We're going to see who the nominations are. We're going to see a little bit of campaigning, and then it's going to go straight to the vote, and then we're going to get. I think they wanted to throw all the theatrics for these episodes because it was just such good content. But once specific individuals end up on the block, I think it's pretty much a done deal. Everyone's going to think that they have their pieces in place. There's not going to be that much jockeying. And then the big reveal.
Okay, yeah, and I'm curious, like, let's say this plan comes to fruition. I'm very curious to see how Armand will react. Very curious to see, which I guess is why they didn't want us to show us on the show tonight. But
He got promised 1 week of safety.
Yeah, he's like, we made a ceasefire. We had it's all worked out. There's, I think there's Russia and Ukraine had a treaty too. It didn't seem to protect Ukraine too well.
Folks, if you could bounce checks on the Big Brother house, what are they going to do if you vote them out?
They can tweet mean things about you, Instagram things, block you on Instagram. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So we'll have a quick little spoiler section to see maybe like, okay, what actually did happen. Okay. For sure, because things could change. We don't know for sure. And then how this vote is going to be looking going into tomorrow night. Anything else on the live feeds that might be noteworthy, Jaemeel will break it down for us shortly. If you don't want to know, that's okay. You can get out of here. But if you do want to know, stick around. We're gonna talk about it, and then join us tomorrow night as we'll cover the results of that eviction and maybe the next HOH, unless it's to be continued. Check out our other stuff here on the channel, including our Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. We talk about the other reality show we're covering right now, Survivor 42, as I mentioned at the top of the show. We talk about that tonight, plus other shows, including Netflix, Ozark. We're going to be talking about that end of April, Jeff and I, as that series is coming to an end with their final 7 episodes to release. And yes, I did see the trailer, Jeff, and it looks exciting. Okay, let's get into the spoilers, everybody, and break this down. That's great.
Herman
is on the block.
On the block. Herman
Good.
is slated to go home.
Not a fan. I'm not a Herman fan.
Who are the Herman fans out there?
I don't know his mom.
Well, to be fair, the dude is high energy, is playing a game at least I can understand and follow, and it seems so blatantly straightforward. It's somewhat ridiculous, but when you're comparing yourself to all these wishy-washy players in the game, Herman isn't the person I dislike the most.
I wouldn't say I dislike him the most, but I'm not rooting for him.
I find him very beast mode cowboy. Like in no way do I cheer for him. It's just a lot of strong guys and
let's
bros
go.
And, let's go. Yeah, Casey.
He's such like a beta, but he thinks he's the alpha.
I just don't. He's not endearing. He's not really showing me much of a personality other than he likes to just. I'm a competitor.
Are you?
Right. Like in the hula hoop competition, when he was he got to round the final 5 or whatever, but every time he scored one, it was just like, yeah,
let's go.
Like, there's some serious over celebrating going on. Moose is also guilty of it.
Oh yeah, Moose does it too. But it just gets to a point where you're just like, stop, man, stop.
Yeah,
you're better than
to be fair, Betty was also hardcore celebrating that hula hoop competition.
She can celebrate. It's okay. She doesn't get to celebrate much.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, because she didn't come last. That was that was her victory. How did Herman react to this, Jaemeel? Do we know?
No, because they don't put the ceremony itself specifically on the live feeds
or the direct aftermath.
They do the direct aftermath, and you get the regular, scramble kind of thing. Remember, a lot of this was earlier in the week, like in Tuesday, so it's like a couple of days, right? And it's been like in comparison, it's been such a busy week with everything else that Marty was doing, and we didn't get the a lot of the petty stuff. We didn't get a revenge. I was disappointed. I never got my revenge.
I know. I was listening for it. I'm like, I gotta get that revenge.
Never came out. Never came out. Right.
No.
The talking over each other constantly, where he's like, Jess said that you want to get me out. It's like Jess is lying. Where they go back and forth. That never made it to the air. I was disappointed with that too. But there was also a lot of great content that they did provide that spoilers weren't that important after that point. So right now it looks like Herman is gone.
I heard some rumblings though, Jaemeel, that there was a potential flip here that was in the works and that it wasn't going to happen. Did you hear about this?
No, I haven't heard about that yet.
Brent Walgamot was tweeting earlier.
But he left.
No, he has his own separate thing.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think him and Rob had a difference of opinion about certain things, or
right.
Yeah. Like what was it was something like we almost got this flip going here, but now it's being ruined. I like this tweet from Brent though. If Gino could spell, Herman could fly. The other one was he said here, I remember a couple of days ago when people were doubting Kevin's abilities, they kept saying he was playing all wrong. That the play was to go Gino first to get him to agree to back to Herman, not Marty first. Where are those peeps now? Just saying. That was 3 hours ago. So
just saying, like, if somehow Herman came back on the block, who's he going after? He's not going after Kevin. He has to go after Marty.
Yeah, this other one he's saying here too. Summer thought she was the swing vote, but she's going to dolly herself down to the bottom of the game. I know she realized it was a few days late, but you can't be open to your allies about voting them out. Tell them yes, blindside them if you have to, and pick up the pieces. Right?
Yeah.
And also, his other tweet was 4 hours ago. Marty is literally insane.
Literally.
He did write it in a tweet, so it's kind of literal.
Yeah.
But it's more figurative, I think, is the correct term. Yeah. So, but like, what?
No,
yeah.
If he's literally insane, he's literally insane. If he's appearing to be, and we're saying that it's like akin, his actions are akin to being insane, but not actually are, then it's like we're figuratively speaking.
Right.
But literally, his actions show
a level of insanity.
But that's not the actual correct use of literal. Literal has to do with like the written.
I know people say that shit way too much these days. They're like, oh, literally everything. It's like, stop. You're not even using that right.
Well, it's because the word has been misused so much, Jeff, that it's lost its meaning and is now like new.
It's
meaning.
been bastardized. Yes.
Language is a fluid entity that constantly evolves throughout the years.
Right. But like, it's just used too much these days, and it gets to.
Is it literally used too much or figuratively?
Literally, it is literally used too much these days. Literally is literally used too much. Yeah. But at the same time, like with Marty, he's acting very irrationally based off emotion. Like Gino even said, he's an emotional player. And you just want to go anywhere near it, and it's just like you gotta, to be a good player, you gotta use those players. Like, did Boston Rob go, I gotta get rid of this Philip Morris guy or whatever his name is? He's like, no, I'm gonna bring him right to the final three. Ultimate goat. You know, he's like, I can control crazy. It's not that hard.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. It's why Gino's not a good Big Brother player. I agree.
No.
Ultimately,
he's
here,
too
like
busy
in no way.
Pissy facing with Jacey-Lynne.
Yeah, he just kind of, it's like he wants to kind of wait till final 4 if he can survive that long and just win out. It's maybe his plan.
And he wants to use like intimidation, I think, to kind of like just get further into the game. And then, which is ironic because that's kind of like what Marty did tonight, where he was like, "I'm a 43-year-old man, and I'm going to yell at you guys and make you feel ashamed." And
if I didn't have Betty and Josh as my targets, you would be the one that's going up. That's intimidation.
Yeah,
right. Well, and like, he said, if any of you backdoored a 43-year-old man with a bad knee and bad shoulders, you would not be worthy of being the winner of Big Brother.
What does he do? He backdoors someone.
He backdoors somebody, but because he's a 29-year-old with good knees and shoulders, like presumably.
The dude has won 3 comps so far? Marty?
Yeah, Marty, you've won a ton of comps. You're 4 years older than me. You're not that old. There's like, just.
It's ridiculous. It's
what
ridiculous.
A guy. I think is all I could say about Marty. Like, I'm kind of, but what a character,
Yes.
too.
Fantastic TV.
Really. You couldn't write this. Like, so.
You can't I think this season of Big Brother is going to be one that people look back onto as like one of the most memorable.
Right. Remember, Marty is a fraud investigator. I got to know more about that.
He creates his own reality.
To get back at them.
Yeah, I would get back at the frauds.
To get back at them.
Like, does he walk into work and be like, "I found them out"?
This is a fraud. Stop her. She is lying. She went to Wendy's with Jess.
Yeah,
and plotted my doom.
I'm glad they showed that Jess sequence so that it could be clarified what exactly she did say.
Yeah.
And does it make Marty look like an idiot? Like,
well,
the Dodo music needs to start coming out for this dude. Seriously,
it is bad, but at the same time, I needed to see the scene where Jess explained it to Marty.
No, they showed both.
Oh, did they show both? And
yeah.
Did Jess? Yeah, they did show it, and Jess was kind of like, was trying to manipulate Marty, right? Like she was trying to throw.
I think she believed it.
No, I think she was trying to manipulate Marty to do what she wanted to, and she kind of, put a little bit of truth with what with the lie.
I gotta check. Does Jess have Twitter? I gotta find out what her story on this is. She's out of the house. They are.
Yeah. And then Summer's like, "I'm glad they're gone."
Right.
All right. Yeah. But like, how does Summer know if what Marty's saying is true? I guess is also like maybe Jess never said that.
I think when you see people angry, you really see people's true behavior. Summer did not like Jessica at all, and you saw that in that reaction. If it was Tanisha said that she wanted to backdoor me, Summer wouldn't believe that at all.
Why did Jess take her to Wendy's?
To kind of build bridges, because Summer is very connected.
Can you turn down Wendy's? If you're offered a chance to go to Wendy's, can you say, "No, I'm not going to Wendy's with you"?
Could you be like, "You know what? Do you got a burrito, boys? Or do you got something like, I'm not."
How would you, why don't you take Herman to Wendy's instead of me or something, Jess?
No, he's gonna do something like, he's not even gonna do like a full Caesar. He's gonna get like the side deal Caesar with a baked potato. That's Herman. He seems so basic, right? And probably like a Dasani water. That's gonna be his combo.
Oh man, that's a boring order.
That's
Dasani, baked potato, and not even a full Caesar with chicken or anything like that, or a regular Caesar. He's gonna get a side order Caesar, basic.
Shake it up.
Yeah, he's there. He probably has like his. It's like, it's just like my my what's it called again? My energy drink or whatever.
Right.
My mixed drink that I have, when I'm selling cars on the floor. I don't got time for lunch, so this is a luxury.
It's a healthquake shake, like in Supernatural.
Healthquake shake. He's like, it's very hard to be a part of the top 5, best car salesman, used car salesman in all of Canada.
Yeah,
so I don't got time. I'm sell.
I am a top 5 best car salesman in Canada. I'm selling, they're buying. They're buying, I'm selling.
That means you're number 5. That means you're number 5.
Yes, that's right, Herman.
And I will use oil.
All right. So this could be the end of Herman tomorrow night. We'll be back to break that down. As mentioned, check out our other channels and our other playlists and coverage here, including Survivor 42 and MCU stuff and different Netflix series, including Ozark, as well as our Live Long and Podcast channel, the Star Trek theme channel, where we talk about Star Trek all the time. Monday nights, Star Trek Enterprise. Tuesdays, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Thursdays, Star Trek Picard right now. That's the newest show that's out. Plus Strange New Worlds coming up on May 5th. Yeah, very, very not that far away. Only about a month away. We'll be on tomorrow night for that, and then coming up this Saturday night, we're doing our next reading of Star Trek Radio Theater. This will be Darmok. We're doing, we'll be doing this on Saturday, April 9th, 2022, 9:30 p.m. Live. We've got Adam Woodward coming in to play Captain Dathon, as originally played by the great Paul Winfield, as well as Davin Skellhorn, my cousin and yours, playing Captain Jean-Luc Picard. We got I'll be in this one. We got a great cast for this, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
In tribute to First Contact Day, which was yesterday. Sorry, I missed
that's right. Yeah. Yes, that's right. First Contact today, and that's why we picked this one, because this is kind of like a first contact and like bridging between like two very different types of aliens here in this episode that we're going to be reenacting in an audio drama format. So check that out, as well as check out Trivial Debates, our monthly show where we talk about movies, TV, sports, game show format. There's a host, there's 3 contestants, they argue, somebody wins. And we got my son, Eamon Mater, or is he Sam Jerka? He will be competing next. And speaking of which, you should be hosting next. I'm sorry. And then speaking of which, you should check out his podcast, Let's Talk About Fighting Games, where they talk about fighting games like Mega Man and BBCAN and stuff like that, over there with Super Smash Bros. Seth and Paranoia, as he's known. I don't know.
I was going to give you a hard time about Mega Man, but there is a Mega Man fighting game, so I'll let it slide.
Yeah, they were talking about Capcom licenses recently.
Yeah,
very exciting. They're talking about KOF 15.
Yep, KOF, King of Fighters, Terry Bow to the guard, Power Taser.
Yeah, they know about it all over there. You just ask Super Smash Bros. Seth. Yep. And then also, you should check out the Hellbound podcast with Alex Blackburn and Michael Chan every Wednesday, along with Jessica Chan, obviously. They're talking about different horror concepts and movies and TV and different things, as well as they just talk about the scariest episode of Star Trek. And lastly, check out Davin Skellhorn's podcast. As mentioned, my cousin and yours. If you didn't know, out of Nova Scotia, he's got the Locutors of Trek with Dave Pugsley over there. They're talking about writers' room pitches, debate sessions, different things, as well as X-Men the animated series rewatch series called X-Rated that he does with his friend Andre every Tuesday, going through each one of those episodes and breaking those down. So if you love X-Men the animated series, or you just want to get into it and hear what people have to say 20, 30 years later, it's there. It's available. It exists, and you can listen to it whenever you want. Anyway.
Good job, man. That was really good. It was really tight.
Yeah, thank you. It's a late one. We're approaching midnight here on this Wednesday, April 6th. I think we can close the book here on Big Brother Canada episode 16. And on that note, I think we'll play a rest out at the very end here, but we need some great Marty clips to take out. All right, we'll see you next time.
A 43-year-old man with a bad knee and bad shoulders. Is that clear enough to you? To get back at them.
Get back
at them. All right, and then I really should just do a hotkey for this. Someone is always watching here. I'm just going to do that right now. Wait. Here we go. And
remember, someone is always